Yeah. So, Weiss, I'll get a comment from you on this as well as we look ahead to Apple and Amazon. Are they going to continue to carry things forward the way that Microsoft and Alphabet and some of the other earnings have done as well?
You know, that really is an open question. There have been rumors, of course, that Apple is cutting back on production due to supply chain issues. And frankly, some of the companies I spoke to, that is a possibility. However, I think the market will look through. We've heard supply chain enough going, in the past through earnings that we should be somewhat immune to any further dislocation in the market due to it. In terms of Amazon, look, stock's been basically flat and it's had a couple of headwinds, I think more perceived headwinds than actual, which are the supply chain hurts their sales if they can't get the products. They're not getting the same-day delivery on some of their routes because, again, the supply chain, and you have a new CEO. So I personally think Amazon is going to catch up. We see these stocks, the FANG stocks, go through periods of this. Google was flat for an extended period of time, but if you were patient, it did quite well. So I think both will do well. I don't know what the knee-jerk reaction will be. As we saw, that doesn't dictate the future. So I'm staying with both. No intention of doing anything with either, whether they sell down or whether they move higher.
Dr. J, what's the options market telling you?
Two things, Scott, about those two big stocks tonight after the bell. Amazon, they are buying like crazy at the 3,500 strike right now, Scott. I was about to text you that one because they are buying. They've taken these calls. They're expensive calls. They're as expensive as most of the stocks, quite frankly, that we talk about, Scott. But when you're talking about a $3,500 stock or nearly that, it's not surprising to see a $25 out of the money call because that's what the 3,500 calls started the day at, $25. They're right now at $47, so they've nearly doubled on the day so far, 11,400 of those changing hands. Then you flip over to Apple, Scott, and we've got huge buying of the 155 calls. Obviously, the stock has just moved through that level. They're buying up to the 160 strike in Apple right now. And interestingly, I have not seen February action this heavy ever in the last several months since they listed these calls, the February calls. But now they're buying the 170 calls out in February, about almost 30,000 of those, I believe, Scott. So, yeah, a lot of upside speculation in Apple and in Amazon, although they're not predicting extraordinary moves, but they're predicting the same sort of moves percentage-wise that we've seen as Microsoft moved up from 309 to 330 or thereabout. That same sort of percentage move predicted in both Amazon and Apple right now by this upside call buying.
Josh, Liz Young highlighted the quick change in tone in the market that we've witnessed, in the last few weeks from when she was on and she was negative. And now the market's back where it is. Apple's a good representation of that. It wasn't that long ago, and I'm looking at it on my screen right now. It was sub 140. It's only $5 now away from a new high. That tells you how the overall market has reacted of late. Can it keep going?
Well, I do think the stock will move on whatever the number is. I don't profess to have an edge on whether or not this will be a great quarter, an okay quarter, a bad quarter, or what the reaction of the crowd will be. But I would just point out historically, you have not been rewarded for having an outsized reaction to any particular single quarter for this company. So I think this is the type of stock where if you don't own it, you feel like you've been missing out. If they report something that's disappointing to short-term people and there's a negative reaction in the stock, that's your opportunity, right? Apple usually has one quarter a year where it's very far off of expectations. And if they were to have a quarter that's not a great quarter, it would make sense for it to be this one because of all of the issues that we come on and talk about every day. Apple's going to feel them as acutely as any other company trying to manufacture products in one country and sell them in 200 other countries. So I think the street is aware of what the challenges this quarter have been, and I don't think it's a make or break. The stock is flying again. It's just been an incredible name all year, and take advantage if you're not in this stock if we do get some weakness after the report. Historically, that's been a great trade.